Have you ever made a mistake so big you thought you could never come back from it? We've all been there, but today's story takes it to a whole new level. We're diving deep into a dark chapter in the life of King David, a man described as being after God's own heart. This is a raw, intense story about how one bad decision can spiral into a catastrophe. Last time we saw David give in to temptation with Bathsheba, the wife of one of his most loyal soldiers, Uriah. Now, with Bathsheba pregnant, David's panic sets in. His first attempt to cover up his sin by bringing Uriah home from the battlefield failed spectacularly. Uriah's integrity and loyalty were so strong that he refused to enjoy the comforts of home while his comrades were at war. This noble act ironically sealed his fate. Now David's desperation pushes him from deception to something far more sinister. He pens a letter, a death warrant, and hands it to the very man he's about to have killed. Can you imagine that? Uriah, loyal to the end, carries his own execution order back to the front lines. The letter is for Joab, David's military commander, and the instructions are chillingly clear. Put Uriah in the front line where the fighting is fiercest. Then withdraw from him so he will be struck down and die. Joab, ever the pragmatic and sometimes ruthless commander, obeys without question. He knows exactly where the enemy's strongest fighters are. He positions Uriah right in the thick of it. The battle rages, and just as David planned, the Israelite soldiers pull back at the critical moment, leaving Uriah exposed and outnumbered. He falls in battle, along with several other of David's men, a tragedy compounded by a cold, calculated betrayal. Joab then needs to report back to the king. He knows David has a temper and a sharp military mind. He anticipates David's anger. Why did you get so close to the city wall? Didn't you know they'd be shooting from up there? So he coaches the messenger. He tells him, after you report all the battle details, if the king gets angry, just add this one little detail at the end. And by the way, your servant Uriah the Hittite is dead too. It's the key piece of information, the real message hidden within the war report. The messenger travels back to Jerusalem and delivers the news just as Joab instructed. He tells David about the battle, the losses, and how they got too close to the wall. And then he delivers the final devastating line, "And your servant Uriah the Hittite is dead." David's response is shockingly cold. He tells the messenger to encourage Joab, saying, "Don't let this upset you. The sword devours one as well as another." He dismisses the deaths of his soldiers, including the man he murdered, as a mere casualty of war. His heart has become hardened, his conscience seemingly numb. When Bathsheba hears of her husband's death, she mourns for him. But as soon as the customary period of mourning is over, David sends for her and brings her into his palace. She becomes his wife, and soon after, she gives birth to a son. On the surface, it looks like David got away with it. He covered his tracks, eliminated the problem, and got the woman he wanted. His plan, from a worldly perspective, was a success. But the story doesn't end there. The final verse of the chapter drops a bombshell that changes everything. It says, "But the thing David had done displeased the Lord." All the scheming, the lies, and the murder were not hidden. The King of the universe saw everything. David may have fooled the people around him, but he couldn't fool God. This sets the stage for one of the most powerful confrontations in the entire Bible. David, the celebrated king, is about to be called to account for his actions. It's a gripping reminder that no sin goes unnoticed and that God's justice will prevail. But it's also a story that will eventually lead to profound repentance and a powerful picture of God's incredible grace. What happens when God confronts David? We'll explore that in our next video. It's a story you won't want to miss.